Hello, hello, and welcome to Mac Yak number up there. Jay came and went there for a second.
No, I was trying to
Now,
add them.
now we can welcome everybody. Welcome to Mac
Hello.
Yak number 165 for May 26th, 2022. How the heck you all doing today?
Good.
Good.
Still
Lot
getting
better
set
than I
up.
was
I got to
doing
my
last
desk
week.
2 seconds ago.
You feeling better, GT?
Oh yeah, a lot better than that's the reason why I missed last show because I was pretty
Under
sick.
the weather. Oh, that sucks. Well, I'm glad you're here. You survived, and you were tinkering around with goodies before the show, so that was good.
Yep.
So I guess we can see what everyone's been up to now. I know GT, you were tinkering around with something. Do you want to tell everybody about what you were playing around with?
Well, it's right there behind me. I don't know if everybody can see it, but
We can make you bigger. We have the technology.
Oh, I could do that real
There we
quick
go.
too, and I can actually zoom in on that particular item right there. Let's see if I can get it in there.
It's not a stack of books. It is.
Nope. It's right there, and that is a Osborne Executive. So I've been playing around with that, getting that up and running.
And have you been building your muscles while you lift that up and move it around?
No, that's sitting on the table right now. That's where it's going to stay until I get ready to move it back into my closet. So there we go.
Awesome. What about you, Jay? What have you been up to?
Nothing productive.
Excellent. That's
Yeah.
a great answer. I have a new microphone stand. That's about it for me. So there's no more hum or me tapping on the desk and making reverberating noises.
One of us.
One of us, exactly. What's interesting is there are so many of these arms on Amazon and such, but a lot of them will say like Blue Yeti or that's the type of microphone this is in the title. But once you actually read it, it's like, oh yeah, the mount that comes with this, no, that won't work with the Blue Yeti. You need a different one. So like finding one with the compatibility that the shock mount or whatever, and this was only like $50 or $60. It wasn't going to break the bank or anything. But like finding one that had everything, and so I wouldn't have to buy separate things and all this stuff was a bit silly.
Well, mine is actually the actual Blue Yeti microphone made by them. But
stand.
I don't have the what you call it, the little what do you call it, the vibration thing?
Oh, the mount, the shock mount.
Yeah, the shock mount.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I just have it mounted directly to it. So.
I got the wrong one twice. Twice.
Well, I want to sort of break tradition here. Just say that we have a bunch of people in the chat here. So we have the usuals stopping by and just wanted to say hello to everyone because we are on, every 2 weeks now. So just appreciate everyone stopping by. We have about a dozen or so people watching. So hello. And I know Trina was streaming before, and I think Justin is going to stream right after the show. So we have to be a good, strong lead-in for Justin.
Can I follow up on your breaking of the trend with
Please.
more breaking of the trend? When we started Mac Yak, there were, from what I can remember, not even a handful of people that were streaming in our audience. And not even all of the Mac Yak team was streaming or had their own channel at that time. And now we have a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just the names that I see now: Justin streams, Retro Techie streams, Trina streams. Who else we have? Patrick is going to be streaming
That Mac
soon.
84
He
guy
promised
does,
me.
That guy's videos are too long. Yes.
I can't scroll up very far in StreamYard, but there's a lot of people
I'm looking
streaming.
at it on. There's all these people you mentioned to stream. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's great because I think one of my goals when I was starting out my YouTube channel was to just share what I learned and show things to people. And people like Trina and other people have come along and be like, Steve, I want to pick your brain because I want to start doing this stuff. I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but this is what I know. So if that helps others, awesome.
Well, hell, when we first started this, none of us knew what we were doing. So, especially
I
me,
did.
and I was
I
hosting.
Jay knew. He just wanted to make sure
Jay
everyone
just
caught
showed up. He didn't do anything. He just showed up.
Oh boy. Well, I want to talk a little bit about some stuff that happened recently. I just got this in the mail today. This is from Jeff, who was on my previous stream, and reached out to me to say, hey, if you want this, just pay the shipping. Very generous of him. It's the manual for Snooper version 2.0 with the diskette. There you go. But that's not all. The manual, I removed the little binding because I'm going to scan it, because that manual is not scanned. The first version is, not the second one. But this is what was very, very important here. This is a Nubus card.
Ooh.
That is working with Snooper, apparently. And it does some basic stuff. It'll test the voltage of your power supply, tell you if there's clock activity, let you know if your ADB port works, and so on and so forth. But the fun thing about this is, the reason I wanted one of these, you could see looks like it's a fairly simple card. And my good friend Kai Robinson has confirmed that these chips are readily available for only a few dollars each. So this thing can probably be quite easily reverse engineered and produced as a blank PCB, and
I
you
was just going to ask that.
solder in your own LEDs, you solder in 4 chips, and the Nubus connector is probably going to be the most annoying part of this, but there's not a lot of traces on here.
I was going to say, how many layers is the board?
It's only 2. So
That's
it's only front and back. So,
oh, wow. He should be easy.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually try and take a stab at this because I have it right here with the multimeter and everything. We'll see how that goes. But baby's first, reverse engineering. It'll be on his stream with
Well,
me
that
crying.
means you actually
cursing
have
at
to
my
scrape
multimeter.
all the green stuff off and everything. And
Not really, because if this thing has a black PCB and it's reflecting light in a certain way, you could see where the ground plane is. So
yeah, because I can't see any of the traces when you hold it up.
yeah,
It looks,
it's hard. The camera's not really showing it, but
yeah, I don't see
now
anything.
you can see them on my screen. It's just very faint.
I don't know about you, Jay, but I can't see it.
Look on the left side there. You can see a big, thick thing between the 2 circuits, and then there are these little vertical stripes above the circuit in the middle.
I'm not seeing it unless
Well,
I'm just blind.
Yeah, I think he's making it up.
Oh, here. Hold on, let me get a flashlight here, because you guys will call me out on this if I don't do it. All right, you can see that. See
All right, now I can see. Yes.
Yeah.
Now.
So there's really not a lot going on here. So
Okay.
thankfully, this should be a fairly simple operation. Famous last words. But the idea here would be to reverse engineer it, make it all available to anybody who wants to buy their own or build their own or whatever. Because something like this, well, yeah, you think, okay, well, yeah, I could check the power of my power supply. I could check, maybe the activity of the CPU, but the clock activity thing is pretty cool, and the ADB thing is pretty cool. And just like having something simple where somebody could take this, buy it as is, or assemble it themselves and just shove it into a Nubus slot and like forget about it.
You know Bruce
Like,
is going
that'd
to
be
want
cool.
one.
Well, I know. And I talked to him about it, so he knows. Yes, Jay.
As the non-expert on beige here, when I was testing these 2 X's, Bruce sent me a software called Snooper.
Yes.
So why would you need that card
Well,
if you have the
your
software?
if your Mac is damaged enough or in a state where it cannot boot into the operating system or it freezes mid-boot, this is great at telling you if the Nubus card works, the Nubus system works, because there's a lot of chips that support it. It'll tell you if the processor is working. It'll tell you if ADB is working. It'll tell you if you have the right power. Because not only do these blink, but they like strobe and they have lighter and higher values and all this stuff. So the manual, which thankfully I have, will tell you all. It's online, actually. I don't have the physical manual that talks about the card here. But the manual on the Internet Archive actually tells you, like, if they're blinking or they're strobing, what that means. And there's an
Nice.
ADB socket here. I have not tested this yet, but I believe the understanding is you'd plug this into the Mac to help test the ADB port, but this does not send any data to the Snooper application. It's all visual, so you don't
But you're
need...
testing this in a live stream tomorrow, right?
We'll see. But yeah, so here's hoping that works. That's what I'm kind of been up to, so I just
Oh,
wanted
that's cool though.
to share that. I think it's really neat, so I hope that
I
will...
think if Kai can reverse engineer that real good, like you said, maybe even make it smaller than what it is. 'Cause,
Well, I mean, it's a Nubus card. They don't make them much smaller than that.
yeah, but you could probably make that a hell of a lot smaller. In
Well, I'm going to assume there's a reason why they kept it this size, because Nubus cards are that size, and so this is going to plug into the card edge of your system, and this is, so it would have to be the same size to keep it in line with Nubus stuff. But Bruce, look,
Now, I have another question. You said that the Nubus connector is going to be the pain in the butt.
Just because
so
of
I'm
solder.
assuming you. Oh, you can still get them.
Yeah, they are pretty standard connectors from what I understand. They made them in a variety of different pin sizes. So the name escapes me at the moment, but I remember finding them. They're only a few dollars each. So,
Oh, okay.
and if
We
not,
expect
I'm
this
not paying
on the
for
market
it. You'll
next
pay
week.
for it. No, next week. Okay.
Next week.
You'll just have an 8-hour stream of me cursing at my multimeter while I look at this. That's what it's gonna be. Oh no, Dana's at work.
In case people are wondering, where's the rest of Mac Yak? They're on the live chat. They're not here.
Yeah, they didn't want all the fame and fortune today.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else you guys want to add before we move on to our lovely topics?
Yes.
Uh-oh,
Windows
go ahead,
sucks.
So that's your update.
Well, we're actually going to have we're going to talk a little bit about that, I think, later.
No, we're not.
Oh wait, I didn't put it in there. We could talk about it.
You didn't
Right
put it
now,
in there.
if
It
you
doesn't
want.
count.
Well,
What do you
we
want
can
to
talk
talk
about it
about?
right now. I mean,
We have plenty to talk about, but Jay, if you want to divulge us, you could,
Oh, do I want to talk about? I don't want to talk about it. I'm dealing with
but
this
why
shit
does it
all day.
suck? Why does it suck?
We all know why. You don't ask that question. Let's move on to an interesting topic, shall we? 'Cause
all right, go ahead.
Otherwise, this will be Windows suck yak, and I don't think, although that fits well with our core demographic.
Yeah.
So Apple is apparently looking to ditch the Lightning connector on the phone finally, and looking at USB-C. Oh God, we're too up close. Don't do that. Looking at USB-C. To replace the Lightning port there. Now they've already done this with a few of the iPads, not all of them, but the USB-C port I believe is on most. I think the iPad Air and the iPad Pro. I think on the Mini, but I'm not sure about the low cost one. I think that's Lightning still. I don't know. I don't have one.
The iPad Air
No, that's USB-C.
is USB-C. The newer ones, yeah.
Yeah, at least for 2 generations they've been USB-C.
Yeah, because like my iPad that I got, I think I got the last one with the Lightning, and it has it's a 7th gen iPad.
Yeah. So anyway, I think I'm gonna just talk about this a little bit, then we'll open it up and everything. But I think it's great because USB 2 has been what the iPhone has been limited to, and they say that's for performance and power reasons and all this stuff. I also think that I think now I could be misremembering here, and you guys let me know if I'm misremembering. But didn't they have USB 3 functionality on an iPad, but it was only through USB-C? It wasn't through Lightning. Is that accurate?
I don't think it's accurate. I think anything that has a Lightning connector is only limited to USB 2.0.
Yeah. So that I think there's a limiting factor there, and what I'm trying to get at here is USB 2 sucks. It's been around since the frickin' PowerBooks, and Apple took forever to put it into the PowerBooks even. So I think it's time that the iPhone has a faster connectivity. Does it need Thunderbolt? No. I think it'll be fine with USB 3 generation XYZ, whatever the heck it is. But having the ability to plug that into a modern system, just download all your photos and videos, which are becoming larger in file size because they're shoving Dolby Atmos and ProRes and all this stuff onto the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro and all that stuff. So I think it's well past its prime that USB 2 has to go, and so does the Lightning connector. I want to be able to use a USB-C port on my phone, whether it's plugging in a microphone or some sort of adapter. Let's say I want to use Ethernet on this. Sure, why the heck not? Let's make that a possibility.
I think we're looking at this the wrong way, though. How many
yeah?
pins are in a USB-C connector? 8 or something?
Well, it doesn't matter. Why?
Well,
I don't even know.
It's swappable.
How much
because
speed
it's not.
could they get out of the 30-pin connector if they were to reintroduce that?
Well, FireWire. There you go. That's
Well, you got to remember though, Jay, that the USB-C connector, I mean, with Thunderbolt, what is it, 4 now or whatever they're having, is fast. I mean, it's ridiculously fast.
There goes the joke right over GT's head.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, it's just I don't see USB-C going away anytime soon. So I think it's a good change for.
But I might be wrong about the pin count. But for argument's sake, let's say there are 8 pins in a USB-C connector, and you get that amount of speed. How many lanes, or like how much speed could they get out of a 30? It's flat. It's super flat. The width would fit on an iPhone easily. I think they should go back. We can reuse our old cables and get like 20 times the amount of speed out of
There
it.
are 24 pins on a USB-C connector.
24. Okay.
So you're only Now, I don't
Yeah.
even think they used all 30 pins on the dock connector. I think they had like a few that were just hanging out there for future use. But
well, I don't think they're using all of those at once anyways, because remember it depends on which way you insert it, correct?
Yeah, but I think I mean, these things are smart enough these days that once it detects ground and this and that, it's like, okay, use these pins for this, and goes. Brr. The problem with the lightning connector, what was it? 8 pins, I think, is on the lightning connector.
Something like that.
The problem with that is they did not have enough pins to built in stuff like video out or analog audio out or whatever the case may be. I forget exactly what it was. So when they came out with the lightning to headphone adapter, that is not just taking out analog pins from the pinout and bringing it to a little barrel jack for your headphones. No, there's a whole analog to audio, a digital audio converter, a DAC in there to do that work in that little stupid adapter, which they were probably underselling and losing money on, because how much money does it cost to engineer that stuff and all that and put it in this little package and everything. And, so the phone had to rely on this adapter just to output that type of audio. Now, USB-C, I'm sure there's going to be similar issues and stuff like that, but you have more pins to work with. You have more types of signals. I hope that we're not, I hope that we're in a better place than we were with the iPhone connector, because I know there are USB-C adapters that are out there for DisplayPort and things like this, stuff that I wasn't even aware that USB could do, which is great. But it's also cool because now you open up to this whole ecosystem of cables and adapters. Like, you don't have to go buy Apple's iPhone charger anymore. Sure, don't include a stupid cable in a box, because now, you could go out to any convenience store and get one. Yeah, they'll be probably crap quality, but...
Well, I think that was Apple's whole point of having the lightning cable, is because remember, they sold that little piece on the end that actually connected in has a chip in there. And so anyone that wanted to be what they called it, what is it, MiFi? Or
the made for iPhone program.
Yeah. And so if you wanted to put that on your product, you had to buy those from Apple. So Apple's, pretty much owned every one of those things. So whenever you bought a cheaper cable that was not MiFi or whatever they called it, those would usually crap out within, like a month or two,
or you'd get the dreaded message, this accessory is not supported on this model.
And I think that's the reason why Apple wanted to keep control of it, because they were able to sell more of that stuff to third parties.
They licensed it. I'm sure they were making a buttload of it. Every home speaker system, every dock connector, adapter, or whatever the heck that they built, even with the iPod stuff, because this builds on their made for iPod program when they did stuff for the 30-pin connector, which I don't think that necessarily required a chip unless you're doing special stuff, because I ripped one of those open once before. But with the lightning connector, it had this little chip in there that, you needed to have the right one. Otherwise, it just wouldn't work with their phone. There were software updates that were going out constantly during like the iPhone 5 era that would just brick devices, these little SD card readers and this cheap stuff you would get off eBay and stuff like that, and I had a few of those, like the lightning connector that would split out to analog audio and still allow you to charge, because famously when I started on Mac Yak, I didn't have one of those adapters and my phone would deplete running FaceTime for 2 hours.
Hey, I think I remember you trying that too at one time, having the splitter that goes to the audio jack.
I had it for a few days. My wife stole it, and I haven't seen it since.
Yeah, I mean, Belkin made ones eventually that were official ones, and they used the chip and everything, but they were expensive. I'm talking about like the $4 or $5 ones that I bought on eBay that crapped out. But I think this is a good move. They should have done this years ago. I think you're going to find it hard pressed to find anybody who finds a problem with this, because you're moving from something that's proprietary to an open standard.
Yes.
And Apple's going to have less control over it, which is a good thing. And it may also force them to be like, oh, well, we have a request to have driver support for whatever device that you're plugging into here. Now it's just a software solution. Or maybe, okay, well, the iPhone can't provide that much power, so you have to figure it out or whatever. But the same little dock that you carry around with your MacBook that you can maybe use with your iPad, well, what's stopping you from using that with your iPhone? Now you have HDMI out. Now you have a USB port. You could transfer stuff from a flash drive or whatever. I know there will be power issues, because when they had the camera connector kit, that was the lightning to the SD card or whatever, you could only use that on some phones and some models, and the reason that they claimed was power efficiency, or the draw that you could get from the phone was not enough, whereas on the iPad it was different. So I'm sure there'll be, issues that come around from this, but I can't really think of any reason why they shouldn't. They should have done this years ago.
Well,
I can't think of any reason why we shouldn't just go back to FireWire.
Well, FireWire wouldn't fit on the newer, thinner iPhones today.
Then make a small FireWire port.
There we go.
They have the technology, damn it.
Make a mini
Microwire.
FireWire. Yeah, mini
Micro
USB.
wire.
Or micro. Yeah, there we go.
Spark wire, something small.
Well, they have micro USB, so
Well, it was interesting because on the first iPhone, you could charge it via FireWire, but you couldn't sync it via FireWire. And I remember the documentation stating that. And I had one of those 30-pin iPod cables that had the USB lead on one side and the FireWire lead on the other. And I plugged it in my computer, and I would have the little wall jack, wall wart thingamajig with the FireWire thing on it plugged in. So when I was, plugging into my iMac, it was charging via FireWire. And when I disconnected from my iMac, it was still charging. But that wasn't necessary because at that point they allowed charging from the USB connector. And if you watched Colin's video, this does not compute on YouTube. He just did a video about the iPods, and he was talking about charging and stuff over USB. So anyway, I've been rambling about this. Please,
that's all right.
Please interrupt.
No,
you're good. You're good.
I think we're all in agreement that they should have got rid of the Lightning years ago because it was slow, it was inefficient. Lightning, the name Lightning was just stupid to begin with because it was still slow.
It was Apple's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But having the speed bump, that's all you have to convince me to throw in my Lightning cables or just throw them in a drawer. I want to be able to download these 4K, ProRes, whatever the heck video that content that's on my phone. I want to be able to download it to my new Mac without waiting. I don't care how fast Wi-Fi sync or iCloud is seemingly. You're still waiting there for it to upload to the cloud, waiting for it to download or be able to download it and stuff. If I have a 512 gig iPhone or whatever, and I have 300 gigs of photos on there, I don't want to sit there waiting for hours for image capture to open up and be like, okay, we found some pictures, and then
He's selling this, by the way, people.
And
if Steve has a 512 gigabyte phone, there will be 511 gigabytes of photos.
There you go. Jay knows what's going on, and image capture will get to downloading them, and you'll get about 10% of the way there, and it'll be like, oh, there's a problem, and it just stops everything. So hopefully we see an end to this malarkey with all this crap going on with Lightning.
Well, I hope that there will be software optimizations as well.
Because certainly.
Importing through Photos, when it does its converting, and if I have something in Photos and I drag it to the desktop, it has to convert it for some reason.
Well, you can turn that off.
Yeah, but I don't want it.
So
I want full quality.
Well, no. What you're doing is that on mode is actually converting it from HVEC to the lossy, whatever
that should
version.
Be off.
Just telling you, that's what it
Photos
used to do
or
for
image
me.
capture.
No, on your phone itself.
Oh.
So under your iPhone here, if you go to settings, and you go to camera.
Where did I look for it?
This is a tech tip for you all. We don't do that anymore, but we're doing it now.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
Where's the camera?
So go to general, go to settings, go to settings, go to camera, and then under formats, there's
camera? I'm trying to find camera still.
oh wait, maybe it's under photos. I think they moved it.
Camera.
That's
yeah,
what
here
I
it is.
set to.
Under photos, it says transfer to Mac or PC. I have keep originals. Automatically transfer photos and videos into compatible format, or transfer the original file without checking for compatibility. What do you have checked?
Where do you see that?
Under photos. I'm sorry, it's under
photos.
camera. So under settings, under photos. And
then where did you see that at?
At the very bottom. Look at my
automatic or keep originals.
Yeah, so I have it on keep originals, which means all the HVAC stuff.
Yeah.
No matter if your system can support it, it'll send it over. Okay, then I don't know what the fuck your system's. Oh, I don't know what your system's doing.
Oh,
oopsie doodle.
He said a bad word.
What the pluck? That's what I meant to say. I don't know what your system's doing, but it
now we're
should do that.
demonetized.
We had a good run.
Yep.
That's what
See you in
happens
2
when
weeks,
I get.
people.
That's what happens when I get passionate about things. I'm sorry. Please move on.
Yes. All right.
So what do you guys think in the chat? I don't think anyone's going to defend the Lightning connector.
Do we know when they're introducing this?
I would assume the next model or two.
I'm hoping that the 14 comes out with it, but who knows? We got to start seeing. We should start seeing the rumors here soon about the 14. So,
well, that's where this article comes into play. Released on May 13th. So, following heels of hot leaks, that's what this was coming on.
Mm-hmm. So it might come out with one. So that might be time for me to upgrade my 12 to the 14 because I usually skip one in between. So,
dang. Oh boy, yeah. So I mean that would be a feature to force people to upgrade. Hey, you want a new iPhone? Hey, you want USB-C? Here you go. Buy it. So I don't think anyone's going to cry over proprietary crap. So
I won't.
All right. Any last thoughts on this before we move on? All right. So
do they currently already have converter cables from USB-C to Lightning? Does that exist?
I don't think so.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, there's a guy that actually did he actually made it inside the phone where he actually put a USB-C connector on an iPhone.
Yeah.
Made up his little thing, but all it is basically a USB-C to Lightning adapter, pretty much, that he took out and put inside the phone, and you could put a USB-C cable in. Now it doesn't up your speed any or anything like that. It's just still USB 2.0 speeds, but you can actually use a USB-C now.
Well, I think the question Jay is asking is if you have like an iPad, can you plug it into a Lightning connector? And to my knowledge, there's no official cable that lets you do that. There is a USB-C on one end and Lightning on the other, but that's meant to plug it into your newer Mac and charge and sync and stuff. I don't think, and I could be wrong, that there's an adapter that lets you use like a Lightning specific adapter on a USB-C device, because first off, there's more USB-C adapters out there for no matter what you'd want to plug into. When compared to Lightning, but who knows? The world is weird.
No, I will miss the Lightning connector.
Why?
Only because it has a USB connector on the other side. I don't have USB-C, and just because you are all fancy now with a Mac, what's the thing called, Mac Studio, doesn't mean that it's going to do me any good.
They have USB-C to USB 3.0A, so you'll be fine, and you'll still get a lot of zoom speed.
In fact,
you could get a USB PCI card for your Mac Pro. USB-C card. There you go.
They actually have those USB-C.
There's only like $30 or so.
And it does work in your Mac Pro.
You see the gears in Jay's head.
Yeah, I'm thinking I don't have any more space in my Mac.
You're fine.
Don't you have a USB 3.0 card in there already?
Yeah, with the standard connection.
Then you take that out and you put this one in, because this one actually.
I'm powering 5 USB hubs with this thing.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that it comes with regular USB connectors on it, plus it adds a couple of USB-C connectors.
Okay, yeah, I'll check that out.
All right, cool. So, GT, were you the one that put the next topic in here?
Yes.
Would you like to start us off, please?
Sure. Apparently, Apple. Let me get the link here, unless somebody else wants to do it real quick.
Yeah, I got it. I'll put it in.
All right. So Apple has a display maker supplier called
You're
BOE.
saying it wrong. It's display.
Display. Okay. Display. Okay. Supplier BOE appears to have gone from bad to worse because apparently they've been cheating their tests on their displays on the iPhones. And they've been supplying Apple with inferior displays that have been causing problems. So it looks like they may be losing their contract to produce the iPhone 14 displays. So
what part were they lying about?
The testing that they were doing was not.
Well, I think what happened is they were getting low yields on the specifications that Apple provided. So what they had done was, to get around their low yields, what they did was they modified their requirements slightly, which were not what Apple requested. And Apple found out. And they're like, oh, you made all these displays that you made easier for you to manufacture. And that's not what we want.
Yeah.
So the company,
the sounds here.
The company was caught having changed the circuit width of the thin film transistors on the OLED panels to make it more easier to manufacture and have a better yield success with. And so, yeah, ouch. Getting spanked by Apple's lawyers.
Yeah, in fact, because you got to give Apple credit, though. They like to have quality parts in their stuff. I mean, yes, it's hard
except
to get
when it comes
parts.
to the GPU.
Yeah.
Or various ICs on logic boards.
Yeah. But when they do sell a product, it is pretty high quality a lot of the times. A lot of people sit there and gripe about the price and everything, but you got to think about this. Apple doesn't want to send out inferior stuff, and this is just one example, is that they caught these guys cheating, and now they're in danger of losing their contract. So,
yeah.
I mean, known issues aside with hardware throughout the last few decades, the build quality I've always been impressed with. From my first G3 to the what's the newest thing I have? 2015 MacBook Pro. I've always been impressed. The only thing that
you have a iPhone that's probably
oh yeah, I have an iPhone. I forgot about that.
Oops.
The only thing that never should have existed was the iPhone 5C. Like,
oh yeah, I agree.
No.
What was the thing Johnny Ive said about it? Was the colors are unapologetically plastic or something like that? I can't remember what he said.
Yeah, he gave it some kind of fancy word spin, but it was still
I would still love, even if it's non-functional, a lime green iPhone 5C. Give it to me, folks. If you have one, it's funny.
My son had one, the lime green iPhone 5C.
Oh, I'll give you $2 for it.
He broke the screen like twice on it, so it cost me more money to fix the thing twice than it was worth.
Ouch. I just like the color. I don't want to use the damn thing. But anyway, sorry.
The problem with those plastic ones, they scratched up too damn easy.
Oh,
I mean, it was.
Well, they were cutting corners because they wanted to make it cheaper, and I think the lesson they learned from there is people will pay top dollar for an iPhone, and then if you want to make a cheaper one, make the SE model, and they'll still pay top dollar for that.
Well, from what I understand, but yeah. Anyways, but this is one of the things, though, is that Apple's getting ready to get rid of one of those. So I don't know if that's going to cause a shortage of screens for the iPhone 14 or not, because if that's one of their main suppliers, I don't know. There's a lot of problems that this could actually deal with the supply of the iPhone 14 coming up. Should be around September, October timeframe.
Can I go off script for a second?
I don't.
Serious question.
I don't know, Jay. If I go from 8 gigabytes to 16 gigabytes, that's another $4.
Oh yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Sorry.
Now, like I said, I've always been impressed with the build quality of Apple products. At least externally. Once you open up a PowerBook and you see all the Captain Tape in there, you're not that impressed anymore. But externally, it's always been solid for the most part. But I was about to make a point, and I completely lost it. It's gone.
Well, in the meantime, Retro Techie is suggesting that they go full iPod Shuffle last generation with the iPhone.
Oh, I remember. Remember the first time we got the black aluminum iPhones?
Aluminum.
And the paint started scratching off real
easy.
easy.
That was iPhone 5. That was the 5.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff. Is Apple too popular these days? Like, if they were less popular, they would have taken more time for R&D, and products might be released later. Is there too much pressure to get the latest out that could avoid that kind of stuff?
I think they're on their self-proposed schedule, but that self-proposed schedule has evolved into a yearly refresh that everybody expects. And part of that is that's what the industry does. Google and Samsung and whatever, they bring out things on, whether it's yearly or every 8 months or 12 months or 24 months or whatever. They follow that schedule. So Apple is trying to remain competitive, and I'm sure they have, ideas floating around for the next 10 phones or whatever, even if it's a napkin sketch that somebody pooped on. That's going to be paper. That's going to be a feature. Dispensing toilet paper. It's a built-in printer in it. Doubles as toilet paper. So I think that, yes, Jay, I think there is a risk there that, like any company, you're trying to best the best thing that you have and just keep putting one out. And I think that there's only so much you could put in a phone, and we've said this dozens of times, and then they come out with the thing that's like, ooh, I want the thing that does the thing. But I mean, how much can you change the form factor of a device like this when the original was like this? So it's like, what do you
changed much?
I don't remember too many of it, but too many of them. But every hardware failure, can be traced back to a stressful time for Apple. Like, we didn't have iMac G4s where the hinges snapped off or the display started sagging. They still work today, but when the pressure was on, well, yeah, after how many years? But, when the pressure was on and they were about to lose a lot of customers and lose to Intel and all that, they forced a liquid-cooled G5 that was nothing but trouble. When they wanted to do certain colors and they wanted to make it look right, the paint chipped off on the iPhones. And every major flaw that I can think of can be traced back to a point in time where Apple was under real pressure to compete or to do what the people want.
Well, that's a good point, because just think of the original iPhone. They actually delayed macOS 10 Leopard. So the iPhone in 2007, they were working on the software or whatever they were doing to finish it. And that they actually made an announcement to that effect, that Leopard is going to be delayed because we're working on, we need all hands on deck for the iPhone. And they were a smaller company back then. I'm sure they've doubled in size at least.
Yeah. Well, remember that when the iPhone 3G came out, they said, "Oh, we're going to come out with the white iPhone, the white version." And yeah, they came out with the white back version, but the front was still black. Then they came out with the iPhone 4. And they said, okay, we're going to come out with the white one. Well, that one still didn't have a white phone because they kept saying they're having issues with the white front,
and
for some reason.
And I know that Steve Wozniak had one of those, because when I went to see him in, it was like 2008, 2009, they had an Engadget show in New York, and I was in the audience. And he brought one out. He had one. He bought the faceplate from overseas or wherever and had it installed on one of the devices. And he said the problem was that the sensor that detects if your face is close to it was not working well with the white plastic or whatever they had working there.
Yeah, white glass, yeah.
And so when he would put his phone up to it, he would ear dial or whatever, or mute the phone without noticing, because that sensor was screwing up. So yeah, they ran into problems with that. And it was just interesting that, even a big company like Apple runs into these problems. They're only human. Yeah.
I don't know. And the constant pressure for redesign is what I mean. Change my mind if you want, but the iPhone 4, in my opinion, most beautiful iPhone ever. That design was just freaking phenomenal. But how do you not know about antenna gate? Come on. Has anyone actually held the phone to try and make a phone call with?
I gotta agree with you on that, Jay, because I'm a ham radio operator, and anytime you touch antennas, they attenuate the signal. It doesn't matter how you do it. You could touch that little bar, the little gap they had between there. You could touch it anywhere on there, and you're going to attenuate the signal because it's not going to go as far. You're going to attenuate it in your hand. But it was a good idea to do that in theory, but in practice,
the design is phenomenal. They still use it today.
No one thought of, I'm going to be holding it like this with my hands on the actual antenna,
Well, I think it was a two-stage problem. You had the hardware issue of the antennas, and then you also had, if they're to be believed, which I think there was some credibility to this, that the software on the phone was not calculating the signal correct, because at the time there was an app you could download from AT&T or from some other app provider. I forget what it was.
It wasn't an app. It was actually built into the phone.
Well, no, I'm saying there was a separate app you could get, and it would actually tell you the signal, like with raw data or nerdy stuff.
It was actually built in. You could actually do the touch tone pad and get into what they call
maybe that was it. But I think when you did that, it actually showed that it was decreasing, but it wasn't as dramatic as like the 3 or 4 bars you saw, and like, now it's only 3. It was attenuating. But so I think that was like, obviously they're growing pains, and like
I mean,
Jay
they
is saying,
obviously figured it out. My iPhone 12 has the same band design.
exactly. They figured it out, but I got
a free bumper because of that. So
I did too, and that
I
bumper
got a
fell
drawer
apart.
full of those bumpers.
I remember I was on a business trip, and that program came out, and I had my iPhone 4 because I had to get it when it was new, and I'm on this business trip with a naked iPhone, and I'm like, I'm gonna drop this thing and it's gonna break. So we were in Minneapolis, and there was the Mall of America or whatever, and that mall's huge. And I walked all the way to the AT&T store. They had one lousy case, and it was like $40 or whatever. And this is before the Apple program. And I bought that stupid case, and it literally like fell apart within like a few weeks. And then Apple came out with that program. I'm like, okay, I'll get a better case.
Yeah, Sam just said it's the field test app, and it's
okay, cool.
There's a special code you got to input into the phone app, and it
up, down, down, A, B, right, left, start, select.
And I'm just with the antenna gate. I'm convinced no one is going to sit there and tell me that it was their number one choice to have a bump on the back of the iPhone. You're not going to make me believe that.
What do you mean a bump?
Like the camera bump.
Oh. Well, I think that, when you're getting into the optics of things, having a bigger area for the sensor is great. But yeah, I don't like that design, because I will tell you, this case is great because it has a little lip around where, it sort of protects the lenses, but there's nothing to protect the lenses if you're putting it straight down and it's going to like touch something that's gravelly or something like that. I'm always paranoid about that, because I'll get a big scrape against like the main camera sensor, and that'll be the end of it for me.
But remember the like Jay said, the iPhone 4, and I think the 5s were the last ones that had a flush camera on it. And if you got a case for it, was always
the 6 was just like a slight, like
it was
the slightest of bump.
It was a bump.
It was just the outside rim. It wasn't
as
like
ridiculous
the whole thing
as the current phones.
Oh yeah, the current ones. But my point is that why couldn't they use that extra space for battery? Why make it thinner everywhere else, but have that? Because even if you have a naked phone, you set it down, it'll rock, and
well, if you look at the insides of like the 13 and the 12, you'll actually see, especially on the 13 Pro Max, whatever the heck they're calling it, the battery is actually a big cell, and then it's like an L. Like they actually are filling the heck out of that thing with a bigger battery. So they are doing that, I think, but
I don't get the whole thinner either, because my 12 is considerably heavier.
Yes,
than
they
my 10 or
I
10S,
I am glad they
I had.
made these thicker than the previous generation. I think by like a millimeter. I don't care. I like the extra battery
I don't
life,
hear
and-
people complaining.
Yeah. Oh, my
prefer it.
pocket can't stand it. I have to put new
no.
stitches into it.
I tore the fabric.
Well, I mean,
and just like the MacBook Pros, they made them a bit thicker too. And look at the freaking performance on those.
if you get the Max ones, though, I mean, this one's the regular 12 Pro. And if you get the 12 Pro Max, which is huge, a lot of people have problems putting in their pockets. I see.
Well, that's their fault.
Yeah,
You get a stupid big
You want to
phone.
walk around with an iPad Mini for your cell phone? That's on you.
Yeah, an iPad Micro. That's your fault.
That's the reason why I have the 12 now, or the 12 Pro, not the Max.
Same here.
Yep.
Love it.
It's to be honest with you, I had the 8 Max, or I think it was the
Super Plus Ultra Deluxe.
that thing was huge, and I just couldn't stand it. It was just too damn big. So when we got the 12s, when me and my wife got the 12s, we're like, we're going to the 12 Pro. I'm not getting that huge ass phone. All
right. So, any more discussion on this before we move on to our next topic? Here?
Like Rudy says, every millimeter smaller is more profit. I don't know if that's the case, because
It means you have to redesign more cases.
Requires more R&D to get it smaller. I don't think it's about profit. I just think it's all those stupid people out there like, I want a thinner phone, a thinner laptop, without actually realizing what you're asking for. Okay, here's a thinner laptop. It has one USB port. Enjoy. It only has one USB port.
Here's an iPhone 6 Plus that bends when you breathe on it. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. Okay, so I am not 100% familiar with the next topic here. Is this one of yours?
Either. I didn't put it in there.
Well, I'll fumble through it. I'll take the bullet for the team. So,
just share the screen and we'll read it together.
Okay, great. I like this plan. It's a good plan. Let me share the screen. We're professionals here.
Where is Mike anyway?
He's asleep with a cat somewhere, I'm sure. So this is another article from 9 to 5, and this is 9 to 5 Mac, and this is talking about a patent that apparently describes some sort of functionality that when you plug in an iPad keyboard into an iPad, that the user interface shifts from your normal touch-oriented iPad experience to more of a macOS-like user interface. So they're not saying it changes operating systems. It's not saying that it breaks app compatibility or anything like that. But what they're saying is it seems like Apple is at least experimenting with the familiarity of when you are using a keyboard with the trackpad, the experience on the iPad may morph into something that's more macOS like. Now, I don't have a newer iPad to play around with these types of docks and things like that. The last iPad that I had, I just use a USB keyboard on, a Bluetooth keyboard on rather, as GT gets up to show us some goodies that he probably has. And so I think that it's only natural that Apple think about when they introduce these accessories to make the iOS experience better to support them, because right now you only have, as GT will probably prove, there's only very rudimentary support for a trackpad or a cursor. Is that correct?
Yes. In fact, this one right here, let me blow myself up here.
Yep.
Whoops, wrong one. Yeah, there we go. All right. So this is it's an iPad case that actually has the regular, it's a real keyboard on it and everything. And it has an actual trackpad. Okay. Wait, let me get into the camera there. So this has an actual click trackpad. I mean, it clicks everything. All the keys actually click and move and everything. But now if you watch I don't know if this will focus, but you can see.
I see. You have a little cursor.
But it's not a cursor. It's a little dot. Like it's where you would touch. So see, that's what I'm saying, is that it does work that way. Now, as soon as I disconnect the keyboard, because it does have an edge connector on here with the little,
what was that called?
There?
The smart connector?
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah. Now that goes away. So there is no keyboard. Now the keyboard does light up because it gets all its power from the iPad. So to be honest with you, this little thing that you were talking about here, that would be very interesting for me, because I would actually love for it to switch to like a Mac OS type.
Oh yeah, instead of being touch oriented, have drop down menus, have things
Yes.
that we're used to on a desktop. Because I think the problem here is iPad OS is a great step to move forward into making the iPad a more unique experience from a single application, non-multitasking experience that we were all used to on the iPad before.
Yeah.
But as the iPad evolves, it has USB-C, it has keyboard support, it has limited trackpad support now. I think you're going to want the connectivity of the device you're plugging into it to give you a richer experience with using it. Think of something like Final Cut Pro. If they're ever going to make great video editing software on the iPad, I'm not saying there aren't great video apps on there, but I'm saying if I'm going to be using an iPad for video editing or something precise, I'm going to probably want something like a cursor or a mouse or some type of trackpad to get a little more precise control about that. And I want to be able to like hold down something while I touch something. Like hold down a command key or use the cursor and maybe use contextual menus, maybe right click on something or double tap on something to.
Exactly.
I can't crack this egg. Apple is obviously looking in this direction to see what they could do. But it is interesting because there is a figure they show here that does look a little bit like a macOS experience. Now,
Windows.
This is just a patent. Obviously, patents are designed to make sure that they cement an idea here, so nobody could go and do the same thing without their approval and licensing and all that stuff. But you can see, obviously, it's a very familiar macOS type interface. I don't think they would go exactly like the macOS. They're going to fine tune it to be very iPad-like. But obviously, if somebody's using an iPad and they're familiar with the Mac, you should have a similar enough experience where you don't confuse the user.
So Rudy's asking a question to Jay, actually. Says, do you think Apple is following Microsoft with this change? This was available with Microsoft tablets, I'm assuming is what he meant.
That's because Jay's the Windows expert. That's right.
Well, I've actually have a Windows Surface tablet as well.
Disgusting.
I only got it because it was free. that somebody was recycling.
Still.
It still works. So, but anyways, it does switch from a tablet. Whenever you undock it, it will go to. It'll ask you, do you want to go into tablet mode? To be honest with you, in Windows, you don't want to use their tablet mode. Their tablet mode sucks. Because if you're used to using Windows docked and where you have, you're used to using a mouse or a cursor or whatnot, that's what you want to use. But to be honest with you, to my personal experiences with Microsoft, the touch experience really sucks compared to what the iPad experience is.
The problem with the touch experience is it's also on the Windows desktops. And especially when Windows 8, before 8.1, before 10 and 11 or whatever version of Windows we're on now, they were really pushing that Metro UI and that whole user experience of everything is touch. So even if you had a keyboard and mouse, you had this interface that really did not suit your peripherals well. Yeah. To interact with this, it was confusing and it was frustrating to people who, for the past 30 years, were using Windows the same exact damn way.
With the mouse,
yeah. And so you have this touch experience, which would have been fine if they only turned it on for displays and things that were touch sensitive. But it was on by default. And what really got me was when you go to change a setting on Windows, you're either dealing with a new version of, let's say, the display properties app or whatever, and it gives you the resolution and everything, and it's this big UI and it's meant for touch and all this stuff, and yeah, it's kind of workable. But you go and do the same exact task and you accidentally click on the wrong control panel, now you're brought up with the old school Windows thing, and it's like, well, which one do you use? Which one are you supposed to use? Why are there two? And I understand, you have to have one that's dedicated for touch enabled devices, but it's like, I think they could have done a better job of being like, no, you're on a non-touch screen device, or there's an overriding setting to be like, no, let's use this stuff rather than this.
They went all in.
They went all in, and they were thinking that platform was going to be a hit, and I think they're really struggling with that now.
Well, you got to remember.
You can say all you want about Apple or Steve Jobs, at least up until, let's say 5 or 10 years ago. If the public demanded something, they would try their best to give it to them if it made sense. There's plenty of things that the audience or the public wanted that Apple said, no, we're going to wait until we perfect this and we're going to do it right. So I think they've always wanted to do this whole keyboard, iPad, turn it into a computer, whatever integration thing. And now they're just getting around to doing it the right way. I just don't like that my Mac has to change along with it. You want to evolve the iPad experience and all that. iPadOS was a great step forward. Do your thing. Evolve the hell out of it. Leave my Mac alone. If I want to turn on Bluetooth and I'm looking at these stupid iPhone toggles, it pisses me off. Leave my Mac alone. Do what you want with the iPad. Just leave my Mac out of it.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about some of the control center-esque type stuff on the Mac OS, because I used to be able to click on the Bluetooth thing, and it's just duplicating buttons that don't need to be there. Like I have the Wi-Fi menu option there. Why would I need a control center?
Have you done a control center on Windows lately?
No, and I never will.
It used to be, they used to have control panel, on Windows 7, and that worked perfect. Now they've just put controls all over the system, and it's hard to find anything. And when my daughter first brought me her first Windows 8 computer, I looked at it and she was asking me to fix it for her, and I looked at it and I'm like, I have no clue how to even get to the control panel, because you couldn't even get to it. Because
back how does it feel to have failed as a parent since your kids walked in?
Well, she bought it herself, so hey, I didn't.
Oh, that's worse. Come on. Oh, I'm so sorry.
But what I was going to say earlier was that you got to remember, Microsoft tried way earlier than Apple did, before Apple even came out with the iPad, to shove an operating system. They tried to do Windows XP on a tablet, and it failed miserably because all they did was took Windows XP and put it on a tablet.
With the on-screen keyboard.
Yeah, with an on-screen keyboard, and it just totally sucked.
Well, then, at least they did a lot of the homework for Apple's user interface design team.
Absolutely. I've never faulted Microsoft for trying these things. they just suck at implementing it. I mean, it's like they don't have an R&D department. And Apple, I've faulted in the past for not giving me what I want, but once they finally do it, it's pretty damn slick. So, yeah, which would you rather have? Be the first one with a touch screen computer, like Bruce would love to be, or have one a couple of years later that actually works and has an intuitive interface and does what you want it to do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What is this Joe sending us, man? I was like, huh?
I don't know. What is it?
He put a link in, and it's showing us, me and Steve up there wearing what we're wearing right now, and it's like today's show.
All right, well, get Ron on here. Come on, Ron.
He's got Ron computer video on. I was like, what?
I like how you said Ron computer video, as if he only did the one video, not video.
Ron's computer video. So.
I know, but you said, like, the way you said it, you said computer video. Is he just does the one, folks. That's all he does.
That's all. That's it. One.
All right, well, if you like these type of shenanigans, don't forget.
Smash that like button.
Yep.
Got to do it.
Smash it hard.
Yeah, if you disagree with everything, smash the like button also. That's what we do here. So
yes.
any more ranting and ravings about...
Just being here, you are obligated to click the like button.
Somehow we meandered from Apple's display supplier to Microsoft's, and
no, actually we already got, that's the top. No, the topic we were on was the morphing iOS.
Sorry,
to Mac OS.
My mouse was covering the thingamajig, and somebody isn't checking off the little boxes on the show notes like they usually do.
Well, you could have done that. Here, I'll do that.
I'm hosting.
Here.
Come on, what are you guys doing? All right, so our next topic here is about me ranting a little bit. And you're all going to join me.
Good night.
No, I'm going to join him because I'm going to rant with him.
You're all going to join me because you're stuck here now. I've been a little vocal on Twitter about my iCloud storage woes. Now, I want to just first say that it is completely my fault that I have all this data on iCloud. It is completely my fault. This is a problem that probably not a lot of people have unless they share the account with others or family sharing and all this stuff. But this is an issue that I've sort of backed myself into a wall with. Let me set the stage for you. I have a 2 terabyte iCloud account. So that's 2 terabytes. I'm paying extra for it. And I have about 1 gigabyte of free space at the moment, which is bad. So I'm running into some problems. My phone is bugging me.
You just made my case when
What?
I said if you have a phone of 512 gigs, it's going to be full to 511. You know it's true.
My phone was full, and so that's why I had to. Well, anyway, I'll explain as I go along here. But here's what my poor iCloud thing is doing now. You can see there's a lot of photos and videos. The green bar represents iMessages. Thank you guys for sending me so much crap. The little orange bar.
Who sent a 35 megabyte log?
I don't know how the hell that did that. I took a photo on my phone and it put it to 38 megs. I don't know what it was doing. Anyway, this orange bar represents 58 gigabytes of data where it says documents. We'll get to that in a moment. And 10 gigs of mail, and then 6 gigs of backup, and I have 1 gig free. So this is my current predicament here. There's a bunch of photos and videos. So what I've done is I created a new photos library on my Mac Studio, which now I can run the latest version of the Mac OS. I don't have to worry about incompatible file formats or whatever. I set it up, and the Mac Yak guys are witness to this. I complained for ages as it slowly downloaded almost 2 terabytes of photos to my external hard drive. So that's all settled. And now I have iMessages that are taking up space, and now I have this mystery documents section. Now, the mystery documents section is a little frustrating because my iCloud drive has about 100 megs of data on it. That's all. Only 100 megs. iCloud drive is like the documents folder for iCloud. I don't have the syncing of my desktop and documents for my Mac turned on, so that's not it. So where is this 60 gigabytes of data coming from? I'd love to know. I can't get a straight answer out of anybody. It might be related to some voice memos that I have that I'm trying to cull and pull off of my system. But my big problem is this. Everyone who uses iCloud burns through that 5 gigabytes of storage fairly easily. Unless you don't keep a lot on your... Hold on, Jay. there's caveats to this. I'm saying unless you don't keep a lot on your device, or you're giving it to somebody who is not going to take photos like a stupid person like I do. That is a pretty limited amount of space, 5 gigs, I would say. Google gives you 15 gigs on a Gmail account. I understand they use your data and all that stuff, and Apple doesn't do that as much or whatever. So maybe that's why they are being cheapskates on you. But for only $1 a month, you can bump yourself up to the 50 gigabyte iCloud thing, which works for most people because that's a good amount of space to back up your phone, your email, all that stuff. The problem is right now, Apple's official tier for the maximum storage space is 2 terabytes, which I currently have selected. Now, there is a way to get more iCloud storage space, but it requires you to actually pay for Apple's, what do they call it? Apple Services Plus or something?
I don't remember.
It's whatever the bundle is. That's Apple TV, Apple Music, Apple Fitness, Apple.
Oh, okay.
Apple Snack Stand,
yeah,
Apple Arcade, Apple, whatever the heck they're doing. And so you pay an extra fee, which is, let's say the 2 terabyte, I think is $9.99 a month. So $9.99 a month. This Apple, whatever the heck, with bundled storage is, I think, $25 or $20. So you're paying for storage, then you're paying for these services, whether you like them or not.
Don said 1 plus.
Okay, 1 plus. So if you're doing that, you get an additional 2 terabytes of storage, but that equals 4 terabytes in total. But they're actually sold to you and visualized in iCloud as like 2 separate blocks of storage, which is weird.
So it's like 2 separate disks.
Yeah, but they're like merging them together. Jay, I hate you. So what I'm getting at here is, as iPhones are able to shoot 4K ProRes footage and all this stuff, as we carry more of our digital lives with us, as we are ingraining ourselves in the Apple ecosystem of, well, now I have an iPad and I have an iPhone, and this has documents on it, that has documents on it, this has photos on it, oh, I have a Mac, I want my desktop documents on here. 2 terabytes in the grand scheme of things is pushing it for some people. Now, yes, I could delete a lot of data from this, but my problem is this. There is no easy way, there is no Apple magical easy way for me to say, hey, look, all of my data previous to 2017, I want it saved on my computer, but erase it from my iCloud. There is no easy way for me to say all my messages, all my photos, all my voice memos, all my mail from those instances with a flick of a button or a few toggles, remove them all from iCloud and just keep them on my local storage.
That probably will never happen.
I know it won't, but
people are, in Apple's eyes, and anyone who's ever worked a Genius Bar, people are stupid, and they're going to mess it up, and then when it goes bad, where are all my photos?
Well,
it's Apple's fault.
But I think what this is getting at, I think, a bigger problem here, because these iCloud storage things are only going to get bigger. They're going to eventually increase the storage capacity, but they're going to come up with super 8K, whatever the heck, and people are going to be taking those photos and videos.
I mean, how long did it take them to upgrade the tiers we currently have?
Exactly. You know? That's an excellent point, Jay. It took them forever to get to a 2 terabyte tier, and then it took them forever to adjust the pricing to make the 2 terabyte tier.
I think we covered it on Mac Yak when they did it, so it's not even that long ago.
No, but that's how long it has been, because they've had like the 5 gig for, and look, I've used iTools, .Mac, MobileMe, and iCloud, so I have some experience here. I went from 20 megs on iTools, that was what you got back then, to the 1 gigabyte you had on .Mac, and I complained enough to Apple that they gave me some sympathy data. I think I had an extra 250 megs, so I always had like 1.2 gigs or whatever on my iDisk, and I felt so fancy, and I filled that up too, I'm sure. So what I'm saying here is, I think they need to somehow develop some sort of functionality where you have better insight and transparency and understanding of what you have in iCloud. Because right now, if you go to iCloud.com, you could look at your iCloud drive, and there are a few buttons to download contacts or restore them from a previous state. Other than that, you have no insight into what is in this document section in the orange on my system. You have no insight into what's your largest conversation and messages that's taking up 10 gigs. You have no insight into any of that.
Not through iCloud.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Apple, with people accumulating data like a hoarder like me, you're going to run into these situations, and I think that they need to figure out some way to let me better understand what the heck is taking up the space of here. Because if somebody like me is having trouble with this, try convincing, your parents or your friends of what to do. When, I have these docs. Well, where are they? My iCloud drive is empty. Why the heck do I have gigs of docs sitting there?
There's mine right there, by the way. So
and if you click on manage storage, what that'll tell you is like the apps that are using up things, but it won't necessarily tell you what's a document or what is an other. So I think there needs to be a bit of transparency here and a bit better organization of like, if I click this manage button right now, it's going to tell me a bunch of information, but it's not necessarily useful.
Have you tried going in, like you just said, the manage storage, and then you want to delete a whole bunch of stuff? Like, for instance, messages, I had a whole bunch of stuff right there. And if you want to delete all the pictures that you've had collected in your messages, that is a pain in the rectum.
Exactly.
You have to select.
It's been getting better, though.
No, you have to select each individual one. You can't just say select all and delete. It is such a.
I think I went through a few weeks ago because you guys, and I think because I don't use it that often. When I went in there to manage, it was on my phone. I went in there to manage. It told me what the biggest files were. I could sort it by size. It gave me a lot more control than I remembered to have.
Well,
here's my messages. I got 14.6 gigabytes in messages. Now, if I click on that,
90% is Mac Yak group chat.
It pretty much is, but it gives me the option to delete the actual messages. So, where it used to be, you could actually delete. Did they change this? Because now I can't just delete those pictures.
You complained and Apple locked you out.
Yeah. Thanks, GT. Thanks. now they're giving us less options.
I know.
Well, see, this
go
is
to messages, and then it says
this is what I'm talking about here. So I go to my iCloud. Okay. Now I have 10 gigabytes of my email. I have this 6 gigabytes of backups. And then everything else is small potatoes, 1 gigabytes of PDFs and Apple Books, some other documents, which is my iCloud drive. But if I scroll up, which I'm doing on my screen, but that's a screenshot. If I scroll up, the next thing is voice memos, messages, and photos. Voice memos takes up 20 gigs. That's nowhere near the 60 that it's telling me I have in documents. So it's like there is just it just boggles my mind that we're running into a situation here where, yes, I have a lot of data and crap like that, but it's like there has to be an easier way for us to understand what is being used and what space
I think it's
there.
an iCloud problem because I cannot remember the last time that iCloud itself as a service, they increased capacity for storage and all that, but as a service, it hasn't really been updated with anything.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I think iOS and macOS have far outgrown what iCloud can, support maybe.
If you were stuck and you only had a web browser and you were stuck on iCloud.com, God help you if you wanted to manage any storage, because you can't. Short of deleting a photo or deleting a file from iCloud Drive, you can't do it. You really can't. You can't go in there and delete individual things. So there's no way on the Mac, on iOS, or on iCloud for me to find out what the heck is that 60 gigabytes of data that's hanging around there. And that's what's driving me mad. That's why I think they need to take a better look at how we could manage data that's in iCloud. It's our crap. Let us go in. I would love, and they're not going to do it, I would love a disk view, just like iCloud Drive, but with everything. Show me those voicemail things. Show me my backup files. Show me these other documents which are there in iCloud Drive. Show me my health data as a text file. Like, I want to be able to say, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. Okay, here's a funny image that Jay sent me, but it's taking up 50 megabytes. Like, let me get rid of that out of my messages thing. Like, I think
why
this
are you
is going to be a
singling
problem.
me out?
I'm joking, Jay. You don't send the big
why
messages.
me?
I do.
You know what being in a group chat with Steve does? Check it out. So, wait for it to focus.
Oh, only 48? Only 48?
49.
Look, it's not even close to the rest of the data.
That's all your messages. That's all your messages. Now, if you go to, hold on. I just found it because I just sent you mine for the Mac Yak, just the one that we have, and that's my top.
I recently deleted the Mac Yak because my phone was full.
There's my top right there.
That's
okay.
it.
And now it's showing that little flashing light.
This is mine right here. 119 gigabytes of messages. 28 gigs of voice.
You can do this on the Mac? I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, on Monterey.
Monterey. Where do I go?
You go to System Preferences, go to Apple ID, and then go to the Manage button next to the storage bar on the bottom.
Oh, there we go.
So, just to wrap up this part of the rant, just saying, I think there needs to be a better way to manage the data, to see what's on there, and a better way to say, okay, when I fill up this data, what's next? Give me a plan to offload stuff rather than delete all, because that's what Apple gives you right now. Delete all messages, delete all photos, delete all. They don't give you the finite details that I would love to have in order to manage this better. Because right now, all my photos and videos on my iPhone are on iCloud Drive, and that's great because I'm in iCloud itself, and I can access all my old photos. But since this is getting filled up, I would like to say everything from 2017, remove off of iCloud, just keep on my machine without fearing that it's going to delete everything off of everywhere.
Exactly. I agree with you on
I can only see that info pane for iCloud, not for the Mac itself.
No, that's what I'm talking about for iCloud.
Now,
I'm pretty sure if I check the size of iMessage on my Mac, it's easily 600 gigabytes. So.
And there are some great people on Twitter who reached out and they said, oh, you could use a SQL database to look at your iMessages and sort through them and do that stuff. And that's nice, but it doesn't give you any access to the attachments because everything's encrypted in different folders and stuff, which I understand. But this resorts to using something like Phone View or iMazing or one of those apps. And in order to understand and read what's on your phone, it dumps the entire device to your computer. So if you have 300 gigs used of a 512 gig iPhone, guess what's downloading over USB 2.0? You know, that's you're going to wait hours. And I've done this. You're going to wait 3 to 4 hours for everything to download. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, I have full disk access, but where the heck are these folders? You know, so
yeah,
that's my rant. I hope they fix it. I hope they give us more storage options. I hope they allow us to offload data or better manage this. I know it's an edge case. I know I hoard too much crap, especially data. And it's something I have to live with. But
well, here's my part of the rant.
The first step to admitting you have a problem is admitting you have a problem.
Yeah, but I'm not going to change it about me. So.
I have some stuff to add on to that because I was talking to Steve about this before the show. And the reason why I love this topic, because my biggest gripe about iCloud is using it on your computer to share files with somebody. Because I don't know if anybody's ever shared a file with somebody, but it is the most clunky system ever to use. I mean, it's a good system to use because it's better than Dropbox and all the other stuff.
Until you upgrade it to Catalina.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, for instance, our notes that we have here, once somebody uses a different system, or not notes, but let's say we used to use what did we use? Pages. Yeah, we used to use Pages before, but once someone uses a updated version of Pages, that'd be me. It would automatically lock everybody out that was using a lower version of Pages. And the problem with it is once you upgrade your Mac OS, you have to upgrade the Pages and other apps because it doesn't like to be used. A lower version of those don't like to be used on the Monterey and stuff like that. So you have to keep upgrading. So it's a pain in the butt. However, I think we fixed that problem with using Notes because that doesn't change. It works on just about everything that we have.
I know if you use certain features of Notes, it won't show on the old one, but I think at least our phones are enough to combat that.
But sharing stuff is my biggest pet peeve on there. Because I do share stuff with other people. Like, for instance, if I get a file or something, like I do iRacing and stuff, and I want to share an iRacing car setup with somebody, I put it on there. I have to go in, click a link, say share this link, then I have to copy that link, send that link to a person. You know, it's just it's very similar to like the Google Drive type functionality, and that's cumbersome no matter what. Yeah,
because you have to set. And I understand it. You have to set privacy. You have to set who you want to send it to, and you have to
Mhm.
send like the link or how you're going to send it to them. So it
Yeah.
sucks, but it's like it is clunky, and I don't know
Yeah.
of a better way to do that, unfortunately.
My issue with iCloud is it's iCloud, and it's come a long way.
It's
But
better than mobile
for
me,
example,
right?
like Rudy said, I don't want my data in anyone's cloud, and I agree with that. That's why I don't have anything in iCloud except for some stupid text documents that don't mean anything. But
Yeah.
for example, I do use Backblaze. I back up terabytes of data to Backblaze because I can set a private encryption key. They don't know it, only I know it, and iCloud knows it. Apple knows everything.
That's you just
So-
hit on a point there, Jay. That is the Achilles heel of iCloud is that anything you put on there, Apple has the key to it.
Yeah.
And they can give that
And
to
it's not to go on a whole separate topic, but yeah, when the FBI wants a phone unlocked, they say they can't do it, but that privacy doesn't span everything. They can get into your iCloud
Yeah.
Yes.
like that with a court order, or even if they want to. And as soon as I can set a private encryption key of some kind, I'll pay for it. I'll use the hell out of it. But until then,
the issue I run into with iCloud is I use it mostly for photos. I want to be able to access photos, and the big thing I probably do it 10 times a day, is I don't remember when the photo was taken, where it was taken, etc. I'll use the iPhone search for either the text or the location where it's like, okay, I was here, or I was at this date, or I was at this person's house, or whatever, and it'll find the photo like that. And I love that. I can't seem to get that finite detail on photos on the Mac. I can get close, but not quite there.
So I use it the same way as you, Steve, because I love that when I take a picture on my phone, it uploads to iCloud immediately, and I have it on my Mac here, so I don't have to connect
or AirDrop or anything. It's already there.
Exactly. It's already in Photos on my Mac, and I have a copy there, and it's in the cloud and on my phone. So I have it in 3 different places.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a convenience thing for me. That's why I have a lot of the photos on there. And look, I've been using the iPhone since 2007. So up until 2016, when I like wiped off all the photos when I got an iPhone 6 or whatever it was, like all those photos are on a hard disk somewhere.
Mhm.
But I have basically almost all the photos from then until now, which is great because I could go back and pull something. I could find something. I'm like, oh, didn't I had this wire, or I had this diagram. Where was that? And I could find it pretty simply. But there is that disconnect with what you could do on iOS and what you could do on the Mac. I could search for text in photos or a message or something much better, I think, on the iPhone sometimes than on the Mac. Even on this brand new Mac, the search in messages does not seem to be as good.
Yeah, the iPhone is ahead of Monterey, even
and
the latest version.
And that's a problem, I think. It's not only that iCloud has these lacking things. It's like the feature similarity here is okay, but it's not perfect. And I think they really need to hammer down on that, because they did such a good job for so many years that, right before Snow Leopard, when the iPhone came out and everything, that's when they were started like, well, I could do this on my phone. Why can't I do it on the Mac? Yeah. And them porting these apps, like the Catalyst stuff, like the voice memos app, there's functionality I could do on here that I can't do on the Mac. And that's frustrating, because all I want to do is export something or save something.
Yeah.
And I can't.
So what you're saying is you took a job at a company, but it was the wrong company, because you should have been working at Apple to get all this stuff done.
They won't listen to me. I don't think they want to listen to me. And then I can't do my YouTube stuffs. They'd probably be like, nope. True. Yeah. Anyway, that's my rant. Thank you for joining me, GT and Jay, as you suffered through that. We do have a What Were They Smoking here. I see GT has that queued up. Would you like to display that, please?
Sure.
Display.
So this was something I came across. This is a Macintosh 512K with an Apple Image Writer printer and a floppy disk drive and a mouse and a keyboard and everything, and it appears to work, but they want $7,000 for it. This is located in Mason, Ohio, so I don't know what's in the drinking water there. This eBay seller has 0 feedback, so they've never sold something on eBay. And I am willing to bet that this is one of those cases of, honey, I swear I'm trying to sell it, nobody is buying it.
What's the truly sad part about this is that someone like Steve stumbles upon this post. 7,000 for an SE with the. Oh wait, printer? That might be one.
It's not even the wide carriage image writer. It's just bog standard image writer.
He's saying computer's missing original 3-prong charger and memory drive.
What?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say the 512 didn't come with any hard drive or anything.
He's probably thinking of the disc. He probably doesn't have the disc.
Yeah.
But
it works with the mouse, so he sees a mouse cursor, when he gets a happy Mac.
Yeah, I mean, see, this is a prime example of somebody not understanding what they have and then not having the know-how of like, oh, it's missing the thing. I don't know what the thing and the whatever. It's like, okay, well then don't ask $7,000 for it.
Yeah, but eBay says it's worth that much.
No, I would say let me go to my ApplePriceGuide.com. Hold on. Let's bring up the 512K if it's on there. Here we go, full list. 512K. Let's assume this is 512K with the keyboard and everything. I would say that's in good condition. I would say
that website, by the way, is terribly, terribly not being updated, but it is updated more often than the Mac Yak website. So go check it out.
So I would say, depending on the condition, it looks a little bit rough, I'd say anywhere from $140 to $200 because it does.
What about the printer?
Because it does have the keyboard and the mouse and the floppy drive. The printer's a boat anchor. If you could convince someone to take it away from you, it's not worth more than $20.
If you say that about a printer, it must be bad.
They're decent printers, but everybody and their mother has one in their basement that's just sitting there.
He said the computer.
You have one?
The cable, but it's right there.
I have two of them. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about, GT. This guy
maybe the ADB cable is missing.
There's no ADB on the system.
Oh
no.
I know beige. What can I say?
Oh, maybe the cable from not the keyboard for the keyboard is there. Maybe he meant the power cable for the printer. Maybe he borrowed.
Oh,
yeah, it looks like he used the same cable for the printer. Maybe, yeah. Anyway, what do you think this guy was smoking? I think he's smoking whatever melted down into that 3-prong cable he's missing.
Either that.
Judging from the color of those products, he smoked
around
the Retro Bright instead of using it.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, because there's no kind of retro. I mean, this thing is yellowed like he's been smoking around it forever.
Justin, I would love the 15-inch wide carriage image writer, but I don't need another of the non-special ones. That's there you go.
So what do we think he's smoking, guys? In the chat, come on.
Yeah, I thought this was a fun one. That's why I wanted to add it in there.
Oh, but $7,000, that sounds almost like a Mr. Polka Dot's price.
No, Mr. Polka Dots would have it at $6,999.98.
Yeah, with a free keychain.
With $500 shipping. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the shipping on? I didn't even look at that.
I think it was. You tell us.
Free standard shipping. Free standard
there
shipping.
We go.
So it's not going to make it.
They'll attach it to a donkey and just slap it in that direction.
So yeah, if you're paying $7,000 for this thing, it better be shipped in a carbonite, case or something.
No, this guy's gonna go to the post office, get like a padded envelope, and somehow shove it in there.
No.
Oh, yeah. So this is something related to eBay.
Hey,
so,
it's free local pickup though from Mason, Ohio.
Well, you guys, some of us are in Ohio.
Dana, go get it.
Yeah, Dana, Jay got a new job. He can go get it now.
Nope. I'm spending my money wisely, okay? Mirror drive door G4 only.
So there is something that Dana pointed out. I want to try and find the link here before we talk about it. Okay, here it is. You're all familiar with Mr. Polka Dots, I assume. For those of you who are not, Ken of the Computer Clan did an excellent video. Somebody could scramble to shove that into the chat, please. But Mr. Polka Dots is a seller on eBay, aka known as Jonathan Goldman. That's the seller account name or whatever the heck. And this person is very well known in the Apple community for trying to pull the wool over your eyes and be untruthful about some things and do chargebacks and all sorts of unscrupulous behavior on eBay.
And overcharge.
That's the biggest thing. $40,000 for a RAM module. you could do whatever you want. You could sell for whatever you want, whatever. But when you start scamming people and stuff like that, that's pretty dumb. Anyway, this is unconfirmed. What I'm about to present to you is pure suspicion based on a number of factors. I could be completely wrong. So just disclaimer there. I believe that this account on eBay called Apple Antiques is a second account made by this individual.
You think? Look at the background.
First off, it's got the polka dots. Second off, it has the watermark in every photo. Third, it has the very blurry, dark, no lighting photo for every product. And fourth, the way they start every auction for your consideration at this wonderful auction
right there
is exactly verbatim of how this individual, Mr. Polka Dots, would. And
while I would love to smear that guy all over YouTube, but could it be that someone else saw his success on eBay and made a copycat account? Like, hey, polka dots, wording, everything.
Mr. Polka Dots was shipping from Bayonne, New Jersey. Prior to that, they were shipping from New York, New York, and this individual was also shipping from New York, New York.
All right, it's him.
At one point in time, they had very similar, if not the same, listings. So it could very well be that this individual is completely unrelated and he's just a copycat, like Jay said, and they just want to make a quick buck. They're seeing that this stuff is going for a lot of money, etc. But yeah, this just screams to be Mr. Polka Dots. And it's just one of those things that I want everyone to be aware of. I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with these auctions other than they're overpriced. But due to the unscrupulous behavior of chargebacks and claiming items were never arrived or it was in not as good condition, both selling and buying of this individual, I would just say be cautious if you are dealing with this person. Expect the worst. Make sure that if something does go wrong, you are within that eBay or PayPal period to get your money back. There are protections in place. I'm not trying to badmouth this individual. I'm just saying my little meter in the back of my head is going.
Well, we can confirm this pretty quickly. I saw a puck mouse on that page. What's the price on that?
$50.
Yeah, it's him.
Wow,
so
definitely.
So that's just something we were talking about as a group in Mac Yak, and we just wanted to share because, look, you're welcome to sell for whatever you want, but when you start, getting a bad reputation in the community like this, I think people are well within their rights to be warned about this stuff. So, anyway,
agreed.
That is my spiel. We can move on to the closing out of the show because we've made the mark. I don't see Dave here though. But I guess we could call it a quits anyway. We do have a Discord. Sorry, Jay. Go on.
Sorry, Jay. Go.
No, go ahead. I was just wondering who's streaming after this. Was it Justin? Was it
Justin?
you?
Yeah, Justin's streaming. So Justin D. Morgan is streaming. Justin, do you want to go ahead? Is it all right if I make him a moderator? Wait.
As long as it's not retro techie.
No. I will not ruffle the feathers. I will just paste the link in manually. So here is the link to Justin's stream. They are going live very, very soon. And, Dave was streaming earlier. That's right. Yeah. So Discord. We have a Discord. Go visit the Discord. Why aren't you visiting the Discord? Discord. Make sure you like and subscribe because we only do this show every 2 weeks. So please consider subscribing to the channel. Smash that like button. Do all the things that you have to do. Turn your notifications on. And maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. Who knows?
Well, hold on one second here. Let me do this.
Smash that like button.
Justin is going live in 1 minute and 15 seconds. Should we just drag this out for 5 minutes? See if he freaks out?
No. He'll never watch us again.
Everybody over to Justin's channel.
Yeah, if you don't go to Justin's channel, this is what happens. Mike wasn't here. We had to do it. But anyway, visit our website, mac-yak.com. And I hope everyone enjoyed our show today. You could also venture. I'm segueing into it. Come on, give me a break. You could also, you're making these things flash up like it's, crazy over here. You can also visit tinkerdifferent.com, get your geek on there, ask your questions, get help and support with these old thingamajigs. A lot of us are hanging out there. Is that good enough for you, GT?
I think so.
Excellent. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
And so thanks again. I hope to see you with the next one. You know, and everything. Thanks again. And I shall see you soon. Bye now.